Hello everyone, Jewelry Talk, Susan Lenart here. This is always Thursday at noon Eastern. I get on and I like to talk about all of the other side of jewelry making. You know, hello, good morning everybody. Nice to see you, Art Jewels, yay. So this really is Art Jewel. I was trained as an artist, moved into silversmithing. I spent my original time like pretty much up in a small space, just working out all new ideas without people telling me, hi Joni, nice to see you, without people telling me that I couldn't do things the way that I wanted to. So I like to, for me, it's like I like to come in and pretty much I did a workshop for the Goldsmith Society a few years ago, and they told me, Susan, what you're doing is you're giving us permission to do work unusually. So that's what I do, is give you as a jeweler permission to do your work however you want to do, especially if you want to develop your own voice. Hi you guys, nice to see you. Oh my gosh. Hello, we're at kind of like at the real rainy part of our summer here, and I just turned off my fan. So it gets a little warm in here, but nice to see you guys. Thank you for joining me. Jewelry Talk. I was actually playing around with another name for this, but for now, it really is Jewelry Talk. So I talk about that. For me, I have studied way back in time. Not that I have been around way back in time, but my very favorite obsessive passion when I was younger, I did ethnographic jewelry repair. I studied ethnographic jewelry. I studied in museums. I studied in, oh, hi, nice to see you guys, great. And, I traveled all over the world. I got to see how pieces were worn and customs was done. And, yay, nice to see you. Here's a new intentional metalsmithing student. Nice to see you, Cindy. Thank you for joining us. Here we are. There's a whole list of the, anything that I've talked about is on my YouTube station that I have here. And today I want to talk a little bit about a couple tools, and I want to talk about some wire, and I want to talk about some conceptual things. So in my Jewelry Talk, I try to talk about anything from historical jewelry and how pieces were worn and what I'm building and what's on my desk and, what type of stacks I'm doing. Yesterday I had a meeting with my students, which was pretty cool. I liked it. So here, all different techniques, but you can see at all times, I'm always working on a look, a concept, how to wear things, what to do. Here's something that sometimes I'll intentionally wear pieces that I'm working on. Hi, Marlene. Nice to see you. Hi, Karen. Nice to see you guys. Oh, love jewelry. We love jewelry, don't we? So, from right in Jaipur, too. So, I wanted to show you guys actually a lot of my old work that I used to do, as I use a lot of objects in my work, not just stones and gems, and I know a lot of you do as well. I'm going to pop this fan on. Hang on, it's just getting way too hot here. We'll see how this goes. Okay. Better. I know it's a little bit louder, but oh my gosh, in my studio, I've got two really beautiful fans that are going at any given time, and it really helps get the circulation going when it's about to rain. So, when using objects in your work, in fact, I have a YouTube video that I did on how to connect feathers and how to use pieces in your work like this. So for me, it's like this is the mastodon that a lot of people know and love working with as well. It's you have to make sure it's protected and you're using it the right way. This was a pretty fragile piece, so I wanted to make sure that I built a bezel around it. It's in here securely. Here's a feather. What I wanted to say was, with feathers, you have to know when you sell a piece like this, pretty much it's going to be expendable. In a couple of years, I have to let people know when I'm selling a piece like this that these feathers aren't going to make it very long. And it's so interesting because I remember when I was in San Diego years ago, when I used to live there, there was a woman who was doing these beautiful bathing suits, leather bathing suits that you could swim in and protect, and she was putting feathers on there. She said she had to stop putting feathers on because people were bringing the bathing suits back and saying that the feathers didn't make it through. So we pretty much know that. So anyway, what I usually try to do, a solution for something like this would to be also, I have another little tiny charm on here, but if the feathers are gone, there's a little collection, and I may even add another piece alongside of here. So your piece is still valuable, even if you have something that isn't expendable. Why am I putting an expendable on here? Because damn, guys, it looks great, doesn't it? You know what I mean? So anytime, Michael! Oh my God, hi Michael. Nice to see you. I don't know if you guys know Michael Deming. He's an old friend of mine from many years ago. He's not old, but he's a friend of mine. And he actually has a wonderful company himself, so you might want to go check out his artwork. I love it. I have so many people from my field from many years who hop on here, and I always like calling out people who I've known from my life. So hiya! So, I had another friend of mine who is going to be in my book, who quietly, tells me she watches this, but oh my gosh, please come in and announce yourself. I'm always happy to see my people. This is all about our community. I miss you too. This is all about our community, and this is Jewelry Talk, Michael. So anyway, you might have to start doing some jewelry. So today I want to talk to you guys about twisted wire. I want to talk to you guys about a couple tools that I'm in love with and can't live without. And I think there were so many questions that were coming to me that was about cost of selling, price points, and having confidence. So for people who are in my intentional metalsmithing, I talked a lot about this yesterday, but you really want to, the cost of selling your work will be talked about in a little bit, but it's like it'll really be able to bring your confidence up, this workshop and everything that we're doing here. So I'm all about giving you guys confidence. I am a silversmith, yes, but I'm originally an artist, and I've done, now I'm really working with the fashion runway line. So, it's like they're not people that get on here and tell me that I'm doing things wrong. You're always going to have a number of people that will tell you you're doing your silversmithing wrong, or you shouldn't be putting objects, or you shouldn't be putting feathers on your work. Here's another mastodon piece here. And, to me, one of my jobs that I used to do in my early years teaching was to always figure out a way to securely put together an object. If you want that, if that makes you feel good as your talisman, if that makes you feel good as your work, you really want to make sure that you can put this piece in your life and wear it every day. That's the way ancient jewelry was done years ago. In fact, here's a piece here. It's like the top work. Oh, I thought it was another piece I had on. This one actually is done. It's with lemon quartz and then, the crystals. I love carrying crystals with me and the vibrations, and I certainly have talked about that one a lot too. But okay, you guys, so what I wanted to say was, lately I've been working with assembly and working very intentionally and slowly with my work. Here's an example of, this was some Indian pieces that I got in from East India that I just fell in love with. Do I have to reinvent the wheel? These are prayer boxes that hold energies. We build prayer boxes as jewelers, but these actually are done, this one actually, some of them are coin silver, some are sterling silver, but to me it's like, I don't mind. I'm going to include this in my work. This one here is a coin silver, but I love, because I do runway and fashion, it's like I truthfully love the way this looks, on in draping. So it's like, am I going to leave this out of my collection because it's a found object? Well, for me it's a found object because I didn't build it. In the art world, you have to actually claim, a found object is something that you didn't build yourself. This one actually is a coin silver piece. It's so nice and light. Oh, I was able to magically find a few pieces. Hi, Turtle Moon Designs. Nice to see you. Oh my gosh, you can watch the IM. That's embedded in the site, and you guys can always go back in. Any of the jewelry talks are going to be listed on YouTube. And I actually show twisted wire. So I put the titles on there. So this one I'm going to talk about tools and about how to twist. So I just show a little bit of tools or a little bit of something every day. I try to. And this is where I don't mind if people pipe in and talk during jewelry talk. This is, a good time for that. So I actually want to say, so I do show you guys how to twist wire. I'm really loving twisted wire in all of my work that I'm doing, and attaching these type of pieces when it's attached to other wire. That's in the first chapter of Bezels Expanded, right? In intentional metalsmithing. I always twist my wire. So the reason why I twist my wire is because I just try to keep my costs down where I can. You know what I mean? It's like, it can be expensive, right? So for me, oh, it's Christina. I didn't see her on, there she is. Hi, Christina. I'm always so grateful to see Christina on. Makes me happy, makes me feel safe. She works with me with intentional metalsmithing and pretty much everything I do. So it makes me feel nice and safe when she pops on. She's always popping in like information on where you can find things. Hi, gorgeous. Back at you, girl, even though I can't see you. So I always twist my wire. I buy beaded wire, but I always twist my wire because I love having long strands. It gets expensive when you start getting into filigree and all the other stuff. So when I twist my wire, because of work hardened, we know that. I talked a lot about this in intentional metalsmithing. Your wire becomes work hard and brittle. The molecules actually are pretty brittle, you know, and sticking together. So I always go in and I anneal mine afterwards. This is freshly annealed, which I'm sure that's an intentional metalsmithing. I'm sure you're going to find pieces and parts of all of this. If you went back and watched all my YouTube, you could find pieces and parts. I love intentional metalsmithing course because it's put together beautifully where you can walk your way through, spend a month in a particular subject that I like to talk about too. So say you're spending your month in twisted wire granulation, this, which is what I'm doing, is spending my whole month just researching what could you do with twisted wire, what could you do with wire, what could you do with granulation, how can I put things together? You know, you build your first piece, then you're like, how can I move from this piece? My first collection that I did was all just silver, not very many gems, you know, and then I started like, okay, how can I use this technique and add gems into my work? How can I set up my assembly so I can have a different type of look? You know, this is where we know with chain, and when you start getting into the bigger chain, it's not as comfortable on the back of your neck. So, you know, I just try to solve problems as I go. And that's what we do as jewelers. We solve problems, you know. So I'm really excited. I love wearing this piece. I love the expansion on this piece because it's the same techniques with wire and granulation. And here's another one. You can see all of the wire. This is beaded wire. Oh no, that's twisted wire here, twisted wire here. These are all the twisted wires, twisted wire around the side. So I'm giving you reasons why you need to use twisted wire. Here's some tiny little twisties. Look at this piece. This is a piece that a lot of people want to make. We're going to make this in my studio workshop over the 16th, 17th, 18th. We're doing it in Morocco, and we're doing this again in Mexico. So that's kind of the theme of this year. So why twisted wire? So for me, I've been really doing a lot of twisted wire, making all these little babies like this. See how tiny? So I'm going to show you a tool that I love. This one actually is, so my first tool, I have 3 tools to show you today that are really, where did I put that? Here they are. All right, I put them here. These are my 3 tools that I'm in love with today for all of this work that I'm doing now. A lot of people have known me for those really big wire snips this way. These are actually the Swanson. Oh, this is actually a Lindstrom. There's Lindstrom and Swanson that actually cut finer and straighter lines, and you can only use it for smaller gauge. I kind of like these. I love these. This is the Wubbers, Patty Wubber. This is the Wubbers. I just didn't know how much I love these when I got them. And these are my long pliers that have this little bit of wood here. So whenever I'm soldering on my table, I can be, you know, I'm pretty far away from my flame when I'm soldering. So that's pretty cool. Okay, Why do I love these? My wire is annealed now, so I'm just going to grab it, deciding how big do I want my wire, my rings. And you guys see I'm even doing the tiniest of rings. How do I get them all the same size? This is nice and annealed. I'm just going to keep twisting around and go under. If I go under my first loop, I can, usually my hands I'm just twisting a tiny bit. But if I go under my first loop, I am going to have a whole stack of rings that are made all the same size. Isn't that pretty cool? And the reason I really like these Lindströms is that I can get in and cut some nice straight lines. So now I have a little roll like this, and I'm going to go in and cut my jump rings one at a time. I don't have my binoculars on. I love calling them binoculars, but I'm cutting one at a time, and there I have my little collection. So these will all, usually ahead of time, I'll create my coil, throw it in my pickle, get it all cleaned up, and get everything in place with my beautiful other tweezers that I love, holding on to things. I'm just finding such a use for all three of these tools right now. So we have to thank Patty Weber for these big, thick ones. And I always make handmade jump rings too. So, a lot of people, they'll ask me, how, if I work with one piece at a time, or if I'm, doing a couple pieces at once. And it's like, right now I'm really doing all this exploratory work with the granulation. So I am just doing one at a time. And it's been pretty, here's some with the granulation. This is some of my favorite granulation here, guys. So I am buying granulation from Rio Grande. I'm making my own granulation. All steps in there, so it's been really great. Oh my gosh, you guys, thanks for joining me. So, I kind of want to show you like the layers that I'm doing. Here's another pendant that has all of these layers, wire, granulation. Why wouldn't you need it, right? So here's a piece. So this piece, and then I wanted to show you guys. Oh my God, can I get under here too? I'll show you. I'll show you guys. I've been working slowly but surely on, just really getting pieces together, and I'm really proud of myself because I'm getting things done. Sometimes you're in your studio for a long time and you're kind of churning. I ended up all this summer making a lot of components. So it feels really fun just to be getting all my components put together. I etched this box out. I etched it out. Oh my gosh. 3 years ago, maybe, some things I just keep in my studio and it gets kind of recycled around a little bit. Up my top. Thank you. This one. So in my studio, I always wear white. I get dirty and sweaty. When I start sweating, I get full of all this sawdust and silver. So I like to catch you guys at the beginning of the day. Originally, when Christina and I were talking about a good time for jewelry talk, a later time would be better, but it's like if I had to hop on after I've been in my day for a long time, oh my gosh, you guys would be like, okay, why do we want to make this kind of jewelry? Right? So this is another design. This was actually I'm kind of just doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that today, and just talking about work in my studio, and kind of catch you up on things I'm doing here. I'll show you. This was a piece that I actually did, showed this forging style. It's on one of my YouTube. It's in the wire chapter as well. And this one I wore for a while. I didn't want to solder it together this way because I just really like the ends of this. I worked on really working this into a beautiful forged point. I turned it into a square wire. So this was once a round wire. This was with Matt's help a little bit. And, I realized when I was wearing this as a bangle, it just was catching on things. So I think my next step is going to just get this pickled, and wouldn't it be great with just like a beautiful surface soldered onto here? I think it could support it. Maybe one, maybe two. but I think I can even do the same thing, supported. That'd be beautiful. So anyway, there's some ideas for you guys. Oh, I love, the reason, you know, I really like doing Jewelry Talk is hopefully to inspire you guys, hopefully to keep our community going. The more we share in our community, the more we educate each other on jewelry and art form and developing our own style, we become stronger and more confident, and we don't feel competition with each other, because really we're training a whole industry to understand how to look at jewelry as an art form, how to, you know, just buy your, you know, to buy jewelry, to invest in your jewelry, to enjoy your jewelry, you know. It's like there's different things going on where I at different times have had jewelry holders up on my site. In a couple weeks, I'll have some earring holders that really look like a cross, that are nice and forged out, where you can put, you know, 6 to 10 pairs of your earrings on there. For me, I always say, when I wake up in the morning and I can see my jewelry pieces sitting, you know, right on the side of my bed or next to me, or just see a beautiful pile of jewelry, it makes me feel amazing. It's the energy that's in here. Where to buy Petty Wet? I think that's on Eurotool, and I'm sure Rio Grande has the Webbers also. I think, Christina, do we have these Webbers on the tool list? We actually have, through Rio Grande, if you guys don't have it, we have a code that you can punch in to get wholesale. Or not wholesale, I'm sorry. It would be tax-free and you'd get a discount. And it's this code, so Christina can give you the avenue to get there. Yeah, Rio or Amazon, right? Webbers. So that's with Peter at Eurotools. He actually carries the Webbers. So you guys, that's our twisted wire. I have different sizes here. You know, I'm just today going to be working on a lot of different sizes. I'm working on a lot of assembly in my studio today. So that's been kind of fun. You know, I've been able to be light, and I've been able to be, you know, to really be able to catch up on things. So that's been good. So that's with the twisted wires. My other tools that I really am in love with, I'll show you guys. And I know so many people ask me this question. You know, I want to make sure that I pulled this one out too. On my jeweler's wheel over here, this is the way my studio is set up. See my jeweler's wheel? That's where my pickle, that's my pickle and my jeweler's wheel over there. And I like to kind of keep things contained. If I'm doing a lot of assembly, I do a lot of work back here. So this actually is, so many people ask me about this, and I know I showed this one before. Oops. This one I have a connector because this works on my jeweler's wheel, and this is a 3M Scotch Brite. So people tell me they can't find a Scotch Brite. This is a 3M Scotch Brite, and this actually will slightly, you know, think about your green scrubby pads when you're scrubbing pots. It takes off some of the surface that you may be having trouble getting off with sanding, you know, but just really in a big general way. Sometimes I'll clean off the back of a surface before I solder it. You know, this really can take off some silver, so you don't want to keep it on there too long. And then I do a lot of my polishing with the Dremel. So that, you know, these type of things here. So that's pretty good. So yeah, those are some of my favorites too. As my pieces get more and more intricate, you know, especially getting like up on the sides, here's some wire in here, a little bit of twisted wire. And, you know, when I'm getting up into these sides, I really need a tool like this so I can get up inside of here. I'm not going to be able to use my big jeweler's wheel anymore. So it's really good that way. Make sense? Okay, so I usually like to talk for 30 minutes. I'm going to show you guys a few more things on what I've been up to. Tomorrow I have a Druzy sale, I was just looking for druzy in my work. Just to give you guys an update. Oops, I don't see any right here, but I know I do have some. I'm going to actually do all of my druzy, a beautiful druzy. It's all 20% off tomorrow. It opens up at 9 or 12. Christina up onto my Shopify site. So I've got all my druzy 20% off, and I'm just kind of working in the background with a couple other ideas. I do have a jewelry sale, but it's not going to be until later in September. But to show you guys some of the pieces that I have been working on, I do still have a few of the Indian pieces left. I wore this for my students yesterday to show kind of just how I'm altering pieces using square wire. Today is really all about building jewelry, and I know it's over some people's head. I will have the components. The components are up on my site now. There's not a lot left, but there are some. So you guys are welcome. You'll find things like, you'll find there's still some, there's a couple really beautiful things. There's some of these ends on there. There's some ends like this piece here on there, the Indian pieces. But they're also, for me, it's like I've been loving using them with my gems for movement. So the Indian pieces, I gave a little description here. Some of my gems that I've been working with and building, which, the long earrings. So tomorrow, here's one of them. I think I have a couple of these left on my site. I love these. These are sterling silver, and these are prayer boxes. And they really do hold, the magic of intentions and things like that embedded inside. So I don't know. I'll show you guys a couple here of rings, mostly wire. Today is about twisted wire, showing you examples. Today it's like you have to, be a jeweler to understand a lot of what I'm talking about, and then you'll be happy. But there's always the intentional metalsmithing class. Here's some really pretty gems and twisted wire and just layers of bezels expanded in here. So I'm excited about the different shapes and things like that. So think about what shapes you're working on as a jeweler, Your shapes, it's always important. Solder punch joint. Nice. So I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. It's 12:30. I like to keep this to 30 minutes. I wanted to show you guys some of my favorite tools. I didn't show them in motion today, but you can always go back and take a look at any of the jewelry talk that you would want to see. Twisting wire, or think about joining intentional metalsmithing if you're not in it. And welcome to all the new students that I joined with yesterday. It was so much fun. It's so much fun to have a new group of students and be inspired and inspire. So, all right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Oh, thank you.